Carleton.
Very much, Speaker. My question is to the President of the Treasury Board. The opioid crisis has been gripping the province for about a year now. Cities like Toronto, Ottawa, London and Kitchener are not immune to the spread of deadly opioids that have claimed the lives of 865 Ontarians in 2016. The best way to prevent Ontarians, particularly the youth in our province, from taking potentially deadly drugs laced with fentanyl is through greater awareness and better education. Given the government bulk media buy, or its advertising budget, which has grown in the last year from $25 million to $56 million, will the government commit to dedicating 10% of that to the public fight against opioids?
Thank you. President, Treasury Board.
Minister of Health.
Minister of Health, Long-Term Care.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I genuinely appreciate the question, and I think that we share the same assessment that we have a public health crisis, a public health emergency with regards to opioids in this province and in this country, and we need to do everything we can, including education and awareness. It is an important tool. It's one of those touch points. It's not the only one, but it is an important touch point where we can alert people to the dangers and the risks inherent to both licit and illicit drug use, and particularly, as the member opposite has said, with regards to young persons. The education and awareness component of the opioid crisis is an aspect of our response that we've been working on for quite some time. In fact, we're working closely across ministries, education, higher education, for example, and others, to make sure as we roll out this aspect of our efforts to fight the epidemic, that it is also having that intended impact.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Much to the Minister of Health, but I'll go back to the President of the Treasury Board. The government spent $5.7 million on ORPP ads after the program was scrapped, or during the program scrapping. You're also slated to spend at least $5.5 million on the Fair Hydro plan that the government, the auditor, called a pat on the back. I'm asking basically for $5.6 million to be dedicated to opioid awareness in a public health and safety campaign that could save lives. Later today, the family of Nick Cody will join me at Queen's Park to introduce Nick's Law. Nick died of a drug overdose after fighting addiction, and his parents, Steve and Natalie, believe we need a province-wide awareness campaign. More money for awareness is just one more tool in the toolkit in the opioid crisis, but I believe it is a very important one. Will the government commit at least $5 million into advertising and education campaign to tell Ontarians about these deadly drugs?
Thank you. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, again, I share the member opposite's concern and the objective as well in terms of that one component, education awareness.
Member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke is warned. Carry on, please.
So we need to be sure that we're reaching young persons in school, in colleges and universities, that we have a campaign that reaches people that go to nightclubs and bars, for example, where they may come into contact with tainted drugs. The problem that we're facing is an increasing amount of fentanyl that many, if not most, individuals that consume drugs are completely unaware of its existence and the risks inherent in that. We're funding safe injection sites, including in the member's city of Ottawa. We're funding test strips so you can test for the presence of fentanyl. We just released $21 million out of nearly $300 million investment over a 3-year period to fight the crisis. $21 million to go specifically to harm reduction workers on the front line so they have the tools that they need as well.